Hello, trading is closed on March 14th, 2019. We'll go over our calls, look for lower prices, and we got them. Look for the pattern with the early high, we got that too. Tomorrow's pattern also has the early high, doesn't mean you won't gap down first. We said that we should either close near the day's high or drop in a straight line. It's a tendency, it's not a requirement, and neither one of those things happen. But tomorrow's open is a surrogate for today's close, so I'm going to predict it's very likely we gap up strongly over this high or gap down under this low. If we don't have such a gap, next choice as we close it'll change, have the big move on Monday. I really think it's more likely we have the gap. Now, we had a few MEJT signals. We said this rally was false. Price would retrace to this line, which they did. So the drop was false. Prices would overtake this line, which it did. MEJT plus 3 buy signal failed, and these will fail more often than the other MEJT targets, which is what I acknowledge in the book. But I also said that we don't take these unless it's in the direction we want to go anyway. When we know we have a lower target, it isn't the direction we want to go anyway, so it's a signal we're not inclined to take. We have strong resistance at recent highs. Let's go over the reasons. Here's the TDST line from the last rally before the high. You'll see how we've come close a few times but just can't break through. Now, the more often you hit on a line like this, the more likely you'll break through at some point. It doesn't have to be now. But if you break through this after hitting it so many times, you really should gap over it and keep racing. It's going to be hard when it's also the upper end of the Bollinger Band, but nothing's impossible. Let's just say we're at resistance, and if we break through, we get higher prices. If it holds, we don't. Here's the TDST line from the last move up on the weekly chart. The other was the daily. You'll see one bar past the line is all we get. If we get more than that, it implies that we've broken through resistance. The onus now is really on the bulls, because if this high is higher than this high, almost always you'll close at today's high or at least open there when the market reopens the following trading day. And if not, it's usually a sign of big trouble. Now, I've had some problems counting this rally here, but it is possible to count it as a five-wave structure with some Fibonacci relationships, and I can't really count it as a 3. If it is a 5-wave structure, we have this as blue A. This would be red A of blue B. And here's your A, blue A, and here's your magenta A. Now at this price, when you draw a Fibonacci grid from the low to the high, you can see the 23.6 and the 50% levels are direct hits on the grid, and the 78.6 comes close. So we have strong resistance here. We have the original target. I said from back here, I said the target is just over 2,800. Target isn't a stop and reverse, but at least the pattern here has played out. We have the Fibonacci resistance from the wave count and from the grid. We have resistance from the demarked TDST lines. It's a lot of resistance, and if you break through, we could just keep on racing for a long time. And the other possibility, of course, is resistance holds. And if we drop, we have targets close to 2,500. So, for tomorrow, I think the most likely thing, not a requirement, but the most likely thing is we gap and trade outside the day's range. The onus is on the bulls. They have to break through this high and preferably this one to keep the rally going. If we drop down smartly instead, it dramatically increases the chances that retrospectively you could identify this as the end of the up leg. If we drop, these are my initial targets. Ultimate targets would be closer to 2,500, and that's today's call.